5:35. Coming up after the break, the celebrity battle of the sexes that is Night Fever. So please, stay with us.
Try not to listen to those voices who are going to say nothing must change, everything has to stay the same, and who want to squander this opportunity, because that would be tragic.
In churches across Northern Ireland today, people have been praying that the peace settlement lives up to its name.
There's a great longing in every part of the land for a lasting peace and a deep reconciliation.
This afternoon, 2 men appeared at a special court in Armagh Police Station. They are charged in connection with the murder of a former RUC officer shot dead a fortnight before the peace deal was reached. John Irvine, ITN, Belfast.
Well, over now to John Irvine in Belfast. John, yesterday we saw arguments among unionists. What about those dissensions in Republican ranks today?
Yes, Nick, there is definitely a problem. Officially, Sinn Féin won't give their verdict on this settlement plan before next weekend's annual party conference, but I have to say I think it's highly unlikely that a party that has come this far would reject the deal at this stage.
Well, how does the agreement process work from now on?
Well, soon it will be the turn of the people to give their verdict. The agreement always needed approval at 3 levels. First, from the British and Irish governments, second, from the parties, and thirdly, from the people of Ireland, north and south, through referendums. What we are seeing now is a huge government yes campaign. There are advertisements on television and the papers. I think some VIPs may become involved in the campaign, John Major, even Bill Clinton. That, of course, raises the prospect of the American president making a return visit to Belfast quite soon.
John Irvine in Belfast, thank you very much. The Archbishop of Canterbury's Easter message calling for reconciliation in Ireland was dramatically interrupted by gay activists. They climbed into the pulpit in a protest at the church's stance on homosexuality. The protest leader Peter Tatchell was later arrested, but says he'll contest the charge. Hal Jones reports.
The protest in the pulpit came just a few moments into the Archbishop of Canterbury's Easter sermon, Peter Tatchell launching into his own brief statement to the congregation.
They remember
Dr. Carey supports discrimination against lesbian and gay people. He opposes lesbian and gay human rights. It is wrong for Dr. Carey to say that people who are lesbian and gay should be discriminated against at work.
One of the most bizarre events witnessed in a cathedral ended with Mr. Tatchell being led away, still protesting.
Let's all be quiet for just a moment.
After a moment's silence, Dr. Carey continued his sermon, asking for bitter memories to be set aside in the quest for peace in Northern Ireland. After the service, Dr. Carey said the protest hadn't upset him.
As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't damage me, but I'm worried when it hurts other people and disrupts a Christian service, as they did this morning.
The protest here has raised the public profile of Mr. Tatchell and his supporters, but it has not raised the tone of the debate about homosexuality and the church. Do you regret indulging in stunts when perhaps you should be getting involved in proper dialogue with the church?
The real shame is not our peaceful protest in the cathedral, but the fact that Dr. Carey gives his personal blessing to anti-gay discrimination.
Mr. Tatchell will appear in court next month. Howell Jones, ITN, Canterbury.
The National Union of Teachers today pulled back from outright opposition to the government's education action zones. At their Blackpool conference, delegates rejected a motion that ministers should abandon the scheme to channel business sponsorship into schools. But the NUT did demand a delay in bringing in the literacy hour for all primary schools in September. Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott today promised government aid in repairing the damage caused by central England's worst floods this century. It came as the flood waters spread east across the country. Here's our Midlands correspondent Eric McInnes.
This evening, the people of Peterborough are preparing for the inevitable. As the army helped to secure drifting pontoons, the floodwaters kept rising. The River Nene is now 5 metres above normal levels. In villages all along the river, the picture is the same. Sandbagging has continued all day, and residents have been left to survey the depressing results of the weekend's freak floods.
Easter weekend for us is the start of a good season, you know, and it's just written it off, isn't it? You know, we can't replace Easter. It won't happen again for us.
The damage so far has been estimated at £500 million, and as the floodwaters flow toward the east coast, no one is taking anything for granted.
We got given some sandbags to put out the front. We've managed to keep the water at bay for a little while, but we're not really sure how long it will last.
On any other Easter Sunday, this footpath that I'm walking on would be about 50 or 60 yards from the banks of the River Nene. But the sheer volume of water that's coming downriver means that this whole area has been flooded, and the many homes dotted along the banks have had to be evacuated. All the residents on this riverside estate have locked up and left. They'll have to wait until tomorrow to see how great the damage has been. The one bit of good news is that it didn't rain today. When the river peaks and the bank holiday ends, the worst should have passed. Eric McInnes, ITN, Peterborough.
Football now. Rangers are the toast of one half of Glasgow this evening after a 2-0 win over their old rival Celtic. The win put Rangers equal on points with Celtic, but just ahead on goal difference at the top of the Scottish Premier Division. Hearts are 4 points adrift in third place. A brilliant strike from Jonas Turn gave Rangers the lead midway through the first half, before Jorg Alberts put the result beyond doubt with an equally impressive finish after 66 minutes. The victory keeps alive Rangers' hopes of a record 10 consecutive championships. Motor racing, and Michael Schumacher today won the Argentinian Grand Prix after a dramatic clash with David Coulthard. Schumacher took full advantage of a slight mistake by the Scotsman. Will Walden reports.
Such is McLaren's dominance this year, David Coulthard thought he'd only have to reach the first corner in front and victory would be his. But Michael Schumacher had other ideas, and charging through the field, the Ferrari driver was soon level with Coulthard. And then, on lap 4, the race and the season were turned upside down.
He's run wide. Oh, no! Off goes Coulthard!
So often the bad boy of Formula 1, Schumacher looked this time to be in the right, and Coulthard's race was effectively over. Johnny Herbert's race was over. Damon Hill's dreadful error when braking wrecking both men's hopes of a points finish. Coulthard's exit allowed Mika Häkkinen in the second McLaren to close on Schumacher. Both men trading places until a stunning pit stop allowed the German to rejoin ahead of Häkkinen.
Häkkinen's not gone past yet. Häkkinen is not there. No.
Schumacher held on to win. Afterwards, he was adamant Coulthard had been to blame.
David seemed to close the door and no room to go, and I didn't feel like I wanted to lift off.
So a win at last for Ferrari, and hope for the others that this won't be the McLaren-dominated season once thought. Will Walden, ITN Sport.
And you can see more highlights of that Grand Prix later tonight on ITV. From ITN, goodbye.